everybody, and welcome to coverage of the Le Mans 24-hour race in 2020, the 88th time this race has been run. It is later than usual due to the COVID pandemic, but we are ready to go. Let's take a look around the Circuit de la Sarthe in lap attack. Let's take a look then around this Circuit de la Sarthe, and on board in the 2016 Audi LMP1 car, the RS016. Coming out of the last corner, four-wheel drive, provides some lack of drive out of the last corner, but start the clock up now towards the Dunlop curve at turn 1, fifth gear corner. Immediately hard on the brakes coming into the Dunlop chicane, down to second gear, ride the curves hard. Little bit of power, you'll allow a little bit of oversteer as you come down now towards the S's. Fourth gear, fifth gear, drop down to third. Get the car on the banking part of the track, come up now towards Terra Rogia at eighth gear, drop down fourth gear now. And nice and wide at the exit as you head down the Mulsanne straight for the first time. Don't forget, it's not the original Mulsanne straight, because now they have got the two chicanes, the Forza chicane followed by the Michelin chicane. You're in sixth gear, over 200 miles an hour, down the Mulsanne. You've got a brake, down to third gear for the first of the chicane. Hard on the brakes, drop down third gear into the Forza chicane. Just flick the car in, left, right, up, right, down, go. Again, fourth gear, fifth gear. And then just wait for the car to rise up to sixth gear. Already a minute and 15 seconds have passed as you're already hurtling down the back straight. Coming now. This one is very tricky. As you come down now, brake hard. Second gear. Now into the Michelin chicane, heading down to the Mulsanne corner. Rise again. Fourth gear. Fifth gear. Sixth gear coming up. You can feel the car almost bumping down the straight as you go offline just a little bit. The car immediately wants to flick you into the wall. You're doing so much to control it as you have to flick the car at the same time of heavy braking down into the Mulsanne corner into second gear. Round now down into the other half of the track that I like, down 18 and 19th part of the track. You're coming full throttle into turn 20 and 21 as you approach Indianapolis. Watch, it's already in sixth gear. Now you just got to keep the car pinned straight and hope that you don't fly off into a wall. You've seen that happen a number of times. Flick the car, brake hard, coming into Indianapolis. It's a banked corner, hence the name. Second gear. By the time you're already in fourth gear, you've got to hold it there because you hit the brakes down the first gear, hard into Arnage. The car doing what it did in the last chicane, just pushing the four-wheel drive out. You can't turn and accelerate at the same time. The car will just go straight with it being four-wheel drive. Coming up now towards the Porsche curves. Turns 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 and 29, believe it or not. Down fourth gear, just touch the curve as much as possible. Now through the fast Porsche S. They've moved the barrier back since this game was developed, but already fifth gear, you can ride much more speed. You've got to drop to fourth at the second part of the Porsche curve. Coming down now into fifth gear, sixth gear, you just hold fifth gear, don't pull sixth. As you've got to brake hard now into second gear, coming into the Ford chicanes. Ride the curb. This is the trickiest part of the track, surprisingly, the last chicane. And across the line. Third gear, fourth gear, and across in a 3:29.042. What a lap. It's very tricky, Circuit de la Sarthe. Right, let's get on then to the first practice report and see what happened. Because if your name is Toyota, leading the LMP1 category was a dream. They've been held back considerably this season to make it more competitive with the Rebellion and Bicolis racing team. But it was a top dog session. The car number 8 ahead of the car number 7. That was Buemi, Nakajima and Hartley ahead of Conway Kobayashi and Lopez. The number 1 Rebellion 3rd and 4th. Not that much separated them at the end though. Just a total of under 2 seconds, which is impressive considering that the Toyota hybrid compared to the rest. Bad for the Bicolis racing team though. Not much running completed in their session either. But 10 o'clock, the green light was at the end of the pit lane, and 59 entries headed out onto the track for the first time. It was an unusual first practice session. It wasn't covered by the TV pictures. We had to listen to it on radio, believe it or not, in order to get our coverage details. Sebastian Buemi went to the top of the timesheets of 3:30.925, but it was the number 7 Toyota just behind. Eventually, that did fall to a 3:21.951. LMP2 will move over. The number 33 High Class Racing was ahead of the 29 Racing Team Netherlands, which was a big surprise for everybody. The battle's certainly going to be in LMP2 and GTE Pro for the racing this year. I don't think we're going to see that much in LMP1, but you never know. But in the LMP2 car, it was the 29, as I said, battling as well, the Ossiers 07 Gibson field. Ahead of it as well, the quickest for most of the session, but with less than 20 minutes to go, it was Kenta Vashdemar who moved the High Class Racing 33 to the top of the timesheets. The Jolter entry of 38 was in third, followed by the Juki Racing Team. Jackie Chan DC Racing was fifth fastest, G-Drive Racing sixth, IDEC Motorsport, the 28 was 7th, the 22 United Autosports 8th, Dragon Speed 9th on 27, 16 was 10th of the G-Drive Racing with the Algarve. United Autosports had an interesting session. They dropped down the order as well in 11th, 12th for Cool Racing. Dragon Speed was 13th on 21 car, the 31 Panis Racing 14th, the 15th for the 36 Syntec Alpine car as well, dropping down the order. It was an interesting run. Moving on then to LMGTE Pro category, we see that it was an Aston Martin dominance from the AF Ferrari courses. Dropping down the order, the 97 Aston on top from the 95, his team. The 51 and 71 of the Ferraris, third and fourth. The Rising Competition Zone, 82, was fifth fastest. WeatherTech Racing was sixth, the 63 car. The Porsches at the back, 92 Porsche and 91 Porsche 7th and 8th, and could miss out on the Hyperpole running as well. Moving further down into the LMGTE AM, the 98 Aston Martin Vantage was up there as well in the number 98. The Hub Auto Racing was 72, dropping down the order as well. Bad luck for the Dempsey Proton Racing. Their nearest car was 6th fastest on 77. Their next was 11th on the car 88. They've got a lot of work to do going forward. But it was an interesting first practice session here from Le Mans. So let's move over then to free practice 2. It was number 8 and number 7 Toyotas topping the board in LMP1 Rebellion. Number 3 was third by Colas Racing, got into 4th place, but the number 1 Rebellion was held for much of the time in the pit lane. He too had a changed gearbox and a changed engine, a miracle. They even managed to get the car out for a shakedown because qualifying, the only qualifying session, 45 minutes, came just after. So it was a miracle that they managed to get that car back out on the track. Moving over to LMP2, well, it's Racing Team Netherlands and Jackie Chan DC Racing, who was top of the boards over there as well. The 29 car ahead of the 37. Jolter, the 38 car, went into third place as well. High Class Racing in fourth. G-Drive Racing fifth on the 26. The United Autosport cars, 32 and 22, was 6th and 7th as well. Looking further down there, the number 11 car of the Euro International ran into problems, brought out the red flag quite early on as well. Had to be back into the pit lane for some repairs. Move over to GTE Pro category. Well, the Porsche team of the number 92 certainly bounced back after a poor first practice. Went top overall. 97 Aston was second, 91 Porsche third. WeatherTech Racing 63 fourth, Ferrari AF Corsa 51 was fifth, Aston Martin 95 was sixth, AF Corsa 7th, the number 71, and the Riser Competition Zone 82 was in 8th place. Moving over then to LMGTE AM, or the GTE AM category that we call it. It was Dempsey Proton Racing back on top in position. 77 was fastest for the Lutz Racing of 61. Gulf Racing 86 is third. Aston Martin, their closest rival, in fourth place as well, the number 98 car. Ferrari AF Corsa at the back as well. And the 52 car was in 22nd place. So an interesting second practice session here from Le Mans. So a little different procedure to qualifying. Just the one session at 45 minutes. The fastest 6 from each class get through to the Hyperpole section. And that's what this is on the side of your screen. The HP stands for Hyperpole. And with only 5 cars in LMP1. They all progressed going forward, so it's a bit pointless giving you the information for that, but it was the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing ahead of the number 8 Toyota Gazoo Racing overall. From the Rebellion, number 3 car, the number 1 Rebellion in third, 4th for Bicolis Racing Team in 4th, and car 3 Rebellion dropped down to 5th place after topping the first session. It was a drop in the afternoon for him. Moving over to LMP2, top 6 into Hyperpole was the 29 Racing Team Netherlands, the 37 Jackie Chan DC Racing, the 22 United Autosports, the 26 G-Drive Racing, the 32 United Autosports, and the 33 High Class Racing. Jolter were kicked out as well. They will start 7th in their class as well. Behind them will be the 16 G-Drive, the 31 Panis Racing, the 36 Signtech Alpine, Dragon Speed USA 27th, Cool Racing 42 in 12, down in 12th place as well. Moving further down, the 39 car, the 30, the 25, 21, 47, 35, 24, 50, 34, 11 of the Euro International. IDEC 17, car 17 and car 28, the 2 IDEC Sport cars. Now, they had a bad session as well. Crashed in the practice session just before. After they rebuilt one car from free practice one, they had to rebuild another car. And they did not get out in time for qualifying, so they start way further back than anticipated, which is more and more bad news going forward. But moving further back as well, as we've just had a lock screen, which is always helpful, into LMGTE Pro. Only 6 cars can classify out of the 8 that ran. So who missed it? Well, it was the 63 WeatherTech and the 82 Riser Competition Zone who missed out on the Hyperpole opportunity. So going through, the 95 and 97 Aston Martin, the 51 71 AF Corsa, they're the Ferraris, and the 2 Porsches went through, the 91 and 92. All went through to the next part of Hyperpole. Moving on to GTE AM, 6 cars able to go through, as I said. So the 98 Aston, the 90 TF Sport, the 86 Gulf Racing, the 61 of Luft Racing, the 77 Dempsey Proton Racing went through, and the 5016 Team Project 1 car went through. Half of the other field, though, eliminated from the running, and they start further back in the positions. The 83 AF Course, the 99 Dempsey Proton, the 57 Team Project 1, the 54 AF Corsa, 88 Proton Racing, of course, who won Le Mans last year, had a bad qualifying here today. The 70 MR Racing, the 72 Herboldo Racing, the 55 Spirit of Race, the 75 Iron Lynx, the 66 JMW, 77 Proton, 85 Iron Lynx, and the 60 his teammate, dropping around 62, 89, and 52 AF Corsa right at the back. An interesting qualifying, and that wrapped up the Thursday running, of course. On to free practice 3 then. There certainly is a lot to get through, isn't there? But it was an interesting one for Rebellion, who finally in the night session, the only night session these guys get to test out their cars before going into the race, they had a better strategy. It was number 3 on top, followed by the 7 Toyota, the number 1 Rebellion, the number 8 Toyota Gazoo Racing, and the number 4 Bicolis Racing Team as well. An interesting session for them. Moving over to LMP2, the 30 car, the Dunkerque team went through, 32 United Autosports, the 26 G-Drive, 22 United Autosports, Racing Team Netherlands in 5th place in 29, Panis Racing 31 going down as well, and the 2 IDEC cars right at the back in 23rd and 24th never managed to get through in any nighttime running. They have got a lot of work to do when in the race on Saturday, Sunday in the 24 hours. They have lost a lot of time. Believe me on that. LMGTE Pro, 92 Porsche and the Aston Martin 97 and 95 are in the battle. Ferrari are here or there. It seems to be everywhere. The Ferrari game isn't that strong. They were down in 4th place overall as well. But look at the back. The 63 WeatherTech Racing had a bad session in the night. That could be something to watch out for come race day. In GTE AM, the 70 Racing of MR Racing was fastest overall. But what could the 2 Dempseys, the 88 Dempsey Proton Racing, finally jumped up the order, but went a bit too far back, in my opinion. 77 Dempsey Proton down in 6th place as well. And the AF Corsa, the number 52, right at the back as well. 4 minutes, its slowest time. Absolutely shocking. But that wrapped up everything in the only night session these guys get before going into the race. So free practice 4 took place on Friday morning before the new Hyperpole format got introduced as well. Let's just take a quick look. Well, It was Rebellion number 1 on top. They really are giving them something, aren't they, this weekend, to the Toyotas. They do not want to be second fiddle. They want to go with a chance of winning the title in the next race in Bahrain. Of course, you get double points here at Le Mans, and it is very much special. The number 7 Toyota was second, 3 Rebellion, 8 was the Toyota Gazoo, and the 4 was the Baikonur Racing Team. An interesting full session this morning. Drop further down, we see the LMP2 cars. The 22 United Autosports, 26G Drive, Jolter back up in third place of the 38. But look further back, the IDEX Sports finally got in. The 17 IDEX Sport car was 15th. The other 28 car finished 21st overall. So they finally got some running out as well. In GTE Pro, the number 92 Porsche ahead of the AF Corsa Ferrari 71 and 51. Aston Martin fourth best as well. They fell right back, further back as well. So did Porsche. Very much a split up free practice 4. Moving over to LMGTE AM. And we'll look at the Team Project 1 finally topping a session for the first time. The 56 ahead of the Lux Racing car in 61 as well. And the Dempsey Proton split out throughout the field. Most importantly, it was 99 back in last place. A bit of a shocker if you ask me. But of course, straight after, they went into the new Hyperpole format. Only 6 cars are allowed into the Hyperpole format, and this is how they ran. In LMP1, there was only 5 cars anyway. So this is what happened. The number 7 Toyota got pole position overall here at Le Mans. An impressive run. Its time of 3:15.267. Kamui Kobayashi was on to break the lap record, but Hervé Ponchero, the race director, said, nope, you've cut track limits on this lap. You are getting that taken off. So everybody went, this morning at lunchtime. Rebellion starts second. The number 1 Rebellion finally split the 2 cars because the number 8 Toyota got its lap time deleted as well. Its best lap, it starts in 3rd place. Number 3 Rebellion 4th, and number 4 of the Baikonur Racing Team starts in 5th place. Over to LMP2, and we must stress as well that this is the way they're running. If one of the categories gets ahead of one of the other LMP cars, they will not be starting in that order. They will be starting in order of class here this weekend for the Le Mans. So LMP1, followed by LMP2, GTE Pro, and GTE AM. They will be starting in that order throughout the field as well, which is annoying because some of the GT AM cars were quicker than the GT Pros this morning. So it is getting confusing, but this is technically the first few rows of the grid. LMP2 is the 22 United Autosports car of Hansen, Albuquerque, and our other favourite pundit, Paul di Resta, of course, who takes pole position. The G-Drive Racing was close behind, though, in 2nd place. Racing Team Netherlands is in 3rd. High Class Racing, 33 car, United Autosports 5th, and Jackie Chan DC Racing in 6th place. They went so close to winning Le Mans a couple of years ago. What's happened? Well, the regulations of the car's getting a bit too old as LMP2 is on its way out, the same as LMP1 as we get rid of the hypercars next year. In the GTE Pro category, Porsche take pole position. The number 91 ahead of the Ferrari AF Corsa 51. Aston Martin 3rd and 4th, 95 ahead of 97. AF Corsa 5th, and the 92 Porsche starts at the back with its teammate on pole position. In GTE AM, it's the Lux Racing Team taking pole for the 61. Dempsey Proton got close, but they have to settle for 2nd. Team Project 1 is 56 in 3rd. Aston Martin 98 in 4th. The TF Ferrari cars are 90th. Number 90, of course, in 5th place, and the 86 Gulf Racing starts in 6th place as well. What a shocker it is, but what a grid we have for the Le Mans 24-hour. What a run! Well, let's give you the coverage details on. We will be with hourly reports, and the next one will be after the first hour, and that is at 3 o'clock UK time, and it's British summertime. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock. Enjoy the start of the 88th running of the Le Mans 24-hour here from our UK studio. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. Bye for now. Let battle begin.